Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're going to be trying out the newly EZA Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku, or Super Kaioken Goku, an EZA we've been waiting for 8 years. We've been waiting for a unit for 8 years. That's almost as long as I've been playing Dokkan for. Now he is rainbowed, not quite level 10 links, just because this EZA did come out of nowhere. This is as far as I could get him. Not going to make too much of a difference. And we do have him on the 10th anniversary LR Vegito 220 lead. He does actually have a couple under his belt. He has Gogetas and also Carnival LRSJ2 Gohans. So he's in a pretty good spot right now for teams, or specifically 220 leads. He is starting with 376k attack stat, 238k defense. And does it make a difference who I have him next to? Prepare to battle Super Saiyan Fierce Battle, and then we get Kamehameha from you, right? Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I don't know how much damage we're going to do, because we have already had one turn against Goku Black. So I will let Kaioken Goku go in slot 1. He is going to massively raise attack by 100% on super attack. He does have a plethora of different key conditional parts of his passive. So if we get strength or fizz keys fizz, he has 2 guaranteed additional supers, which, don't forget, that's 100% attack each time. If we pick up tech keys fizz, which we do have an option here, or with an AGL tech or int, he does have guaranteed guard, which is very nice. So actually I'm going to try to set it up like this, give the Vegito unit barely any orbs, and I'm going to give him guard. So for strength and fizz again, we also get, or for every strength and fizz key sphere, we get 40% attack and a chance to crit by 10%. And then for every AGL tech or int key sphere, along with guard by picking up 1, we get 20% attack and defense and chance to evade by 5%. So I think we got like, what, 11 orbs there? So we actually got a ton of dodge chance, like a lot of dodge chance, 55%. And he has 50% chance to dodge in his passive anyway. But he is also starting with key +4, 200% attack and defense, as I just said, has a base 50% chance to dodge. 13 mil is not bad. Not too bad. 8.6 milli crit as well, and there's our guaranteed dodge. I mean, we do have a ton of dodge in the dupe system as well. That is for those times where maybe you can't get tech orbs, or you can't get AGL key spheres or int key spheres. You have to get strength or fizz. That way he has some dodge in his potential system to also go with the dodge he automatically has in his passive. And then he'll randomly change his int key spheres to key spheres of another type. And then when receiving an attack, this is where the gimmick kind of comes in, along with, of course, the different type orb conditions. He does survive KO attacks up to once within a turn. Of course, the other unit we've seen this with is the Super Saiyan Namek Goku, the strength on the EZA'd. Damn, when did that unit EZA? It wasn't last year, was it? Was it the year before, or was it last year? It was either last year or the year before. Honestly, I think I say this every year. Dokkan is really just starting to mesh into one, and I just, apart from like major moments, kind of forget so much stuff. He either came out last year or the year before. I just can't remember when exactly. And then when Super Kaioken Goku is attacking with 12 or more ki, he does gain an extra 100% attack and defense, and then does gain an additional attack and defense of 50% when HP is 80% or less as well. And that is literally all of his kit. Now, of course, he is his own orb changer, specifically changing int key spheres to another type. Which type you get, of course, is all RNG. Now, he does have pretty much everything for the potential system built into his passive, from additionals to dodge to crit. Just the additionals and crit are built behind or locked behind you picking up certain types of orbs, which I don't think is too much of an issue. But obviously, as I said, he's a very gimmicky EZA. So right now, as you can see, we have fizz and AGL key spheres. We could have got very unlucky, or not even very unlucky. We could have just not had the choice, and we could have got strength and fizz, which means we don't have a chance to guard at all. And that also means we don't have any build up of dodge, which is why I would probably suggest, if you do have dupes in him or have him rainbowed, he has a very old unit, I would probably go down the route of giving him a ton of dodge, even with skill orbs as well. Because even though you can get 3 types of orbs of AGL tech or int, you may, as I said, have the time when you have orb changing, because he does change int orbs, but you just purely have strength or fizz. Now, from a defensive standpoint, with the additionals and the extra 40% per strength or fizz, keys for obtained, and the extra crit chance, it's going to be very nice. But you don't have guaranteed guard. You also don't have any dodge build up. And this is, as I said, where the gimmicks kind of come in. And when it comes to difficult content, how many orbs can we get him? 7? Yeah, so that's an extra 140% attack and defense and 35% dodge chance to dodge. That's 85% dodge chance. Not guaranteed like last time, but a lot of dodge chance nonetheless. But this is where his gimmicks really come into play, and I actually really think it's a lot of fun. I think it's honestly a lot of fun. As I said, there are some cases when it comes to like difficult content where, I'm not gonna lie, he's actually usable. But you could get very unfortunate of RNG depending on who you're facing and what phase you're on, where obviously Goku's just not gonna have enough stat-wise to tank a super attack, or maybe some of the hard hitting normals, and you rely on the dodge. And maybe the guard might scrape you through, but depending on how the orb changing goes, you know, you may not get AGL Tech or Int Keys Fizz, which seems kind of mad considering there's 3 different types of orbs there for you to get. But it could happen where you purely just have Strength or Fizz. So that's why I said, just to back him up, just to kind of pad him out a bit more, I'd probably go full, if not just a ton of dodge in the potential system. But even so, I mean, so far we haven't struggled to get AGL Tech or Int Keys Fizz. There's always some to get. And then that's another thing that can attach itself to the orb changing and picking up certain amount of orbs. There may be AGL Tech or Int Keys Fizz for you to get, but the field may be quite poor of a setup, which means you're only getting a couple of AGL Tech or Int Keys Fizz, which means you're not getting too much extra attack and defense, even though it is 20% each time. And you're also getting not too many extra dodge chance, which is, again, while I'd probably pad him out with some dodge in the potential system, but for a gimmicky EZA, for the 4 turns we've run this, or 5 turns now, the 2 turns of Kaioken Goku we've had, I'm not gonna lie, he's actually a lot of fun to use. Like, he is actually just quite a lot of fun to use. Like, I'm really enjoying using him. I quite like the gimmick. As I said, even though with poor RNG in some cases, or just essentially the really difficult content, it could go against you, sure. But this is a unit that is very much kind of under that umbrella of what he does is on the tin. He's a very much a dodge or die unit. The only asterisk, the only kind of extra bit to him is it's attached to the orbs you pick up. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I said, I'm having a lot of fun with. He actually seems like a lot of fun to use. Like, he's putting out solid damage for a sub EZA, especially if you can build up crit. I said he does have guaranteed guard with AGL Tech or Int, which I'm not gonna lie, those being the primary orbs you get. And by primary, I mean because it's 3 rather than 2. There's more chance of you getting the guaranteed guard, the extra 20% attack and defense, and the dodge chance each time. It's actually the better route to go. Not because of the guard. I said that will help out with normals and difficult content, which is great. But it's because you get 5% dodge chance each time, and there's no cap on it, which means you can actually build Kaioken Goku up to have guaranteed dodge. But he's a lot of fun to use. As I said, for the 2 turns we've had him, I've actually enjoyed using him. And of course, in our back pocket if we need, which is bound to happen in really difficult content where enemies are putting out 4, 5, 6, 7 million on super, he can survive a KO attack. So he actually has a lot going for him. Damage-wise, you know, maybe not so much when enemies are having tons of HP. But with the dodge you can build up, on top of the 50% he starts with, along with the surviving KO super attack, he actually has some use. Like, he can actually be very, very useful. Now, that's a ton of strength orbs. Which means, how many can we get in total? How many can we get? 10? 11? Ooh. Ooh. See, I kind of want it... I do kind of want to see what he can do. No, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use his active skill, because Beast will probably kill Zamasu. I want to pick up all of these orbs. We probably could have got more, but we can get 11 strength orbs. Well, actually, no. There's less rainbow orbs here, so we can actually get 8 strength orbs, which means he's actually going to do more damage and get more crit chance. You know, while I'd rather go with the AGL Tech or Int route, which we could have gone, I want to see what he does with a bit more damage. I want to see what he does with a bit more attack. Don't forget that's 40% attack each strength or fizz orb. 18.6 really isn't too bad for a sub EZA. That's actually pretty good, especially with all that crit chance built up as well. 12 milli crit, 20 mil. Don't forget we've got 2 guaranteed supers. We've got 2 guaranteed additionals. So what? We're going to jump up to what? 21, 22 mil? 23.3. And there's the potential system, 25.6. What are we doing on a crit? Because again, we've got a ton of crit chance from that. We've got guaranteed crit right now. 16.9. So if you decide to go the more offensive route and you get strength or fizz orbs, he can actually do some very good damage. Because you've got the 2 guaranteed additionals. You've got a ton of crit chance building up depending on how many orbs you get. That's 40% each time. Altogether, he actually does some good damage. Now, usually with gimmicky EZAs, they're okay. They're not great. They're okay. Like, you know, you might be able to get some use out of them, but when it comes to like difficult content in the game, you know, you definitely want to probably not even use them. You know, you might get a little bit of use out of them if you get good RNG. But for the most part, probably best if they just stay in your box on the bench. Do you know what I mean? It's probably best you don't bring them. But I'm not going to lie, for a gimmicky unit, he's a lot of fun to use. And not only that, he is actually usable in difficult content. Now, does that mean he's perfect for difficult content? No. He's not a guaranteed, you have to bring this guy, slot 1 monster, he tanks 8 mil for next to nothing, best in the game, will do 50 mil damage. No. He's a sub EZA. He's going to have levels. He's going to have a ceiling. And he does. And as I said, if RNG really goes against you, which, I mean, we've only had him for a few turns, but I don't feel like that's an issue. But if RNG does go against you, as I said, which is either the field of orbs, you don't get many of the orb you're looking for, so you don't get to build up, say for example you go in the offensive route, you don't get to build up too much attack so he doesn't do too much damage or too much crit chance. It'll probably still be okay, but not a lot. If you go down the more defensive route and go AGL tech or int, sure, you get the guaranteed guard, but again, you don't get to flesh him out of extra attack and defense, but more importantly, you don't get to build up too much dodge chance. But even then, that's building on top of 50, so that's still pretty good. But, you know, maybe in some of the more difficult fights, you're going to want 70, 80, almost guaranteed crit at all times, which you probably will, especially if you can dodge. You know, bring tech UI and you got the guarantee. So, yeah, there's also that combo, that strategy you could go with, which is why I would also say give him some dodge in the potential system, just kind of fleshed out a bit more, just kind of back him up. But he's actually suited for quite a lot of things in the game. I said he's got an offensive route, he's got a defensive route. Being able to get him up to guaranteed dodge, especially if you can dodge against that enemy, that's pretty sick. That's pretty clutch. And as I said, while gimmicky units, while they can be quite fun to use, they're definitely not great. Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku is actually pretty good. Now, funny enough, this is what I'm talking about, where you can get quite unlucky with orb placement and the way the orb and the field changes, where there is some AGL orbs there, but there's one. We can only get one each path we take or go strength and fizz. I mean, we can shimmy some about, which I don't think should be an issue. How are we looking with stats? 285, 2388. I mean, to be fair, the best bet is probably seeing how much damage we can do. But even then, there's actually not that many strength or fizz orbs for Goku to get. I mean, we can get 3 strength orbs. Just 3. Just 3. Let's see how he does with the Gogeta support. I mean, if we could get him like a solid amount of orbs, like, you know, like what we've got before, you know, you're looking between like 6, 8. It'd be great if we could get 10 or 11 again. Goku's putting out some big numbers. You know, we're talking probably like 8, 20 mil, then the guaranteed additionals. We're talking way into 20 mil with, you know, a ton of, if not guaranteed, crit. So, as I said, Goku can put out some very good numbers for a sub EZA, especially with, as I said, with a lot of or guaranteed crit. But just for the fact he's getting 100% attack every time he super attack, especially if you go down the strength or fizz orb route, you're looking at 2 guaranteed additionals no matter what. But overall, I think he's a very, very good sub EZA, and for him to be able to have some use in the difficult content we have in Dokkan right now adds a ton of value to him. Not a lot of sub EZAs can compete in the difficult content. Sure, there's some instances where he's going to get you killed, but with dodge units, if you get the RNG for the orbs, you can dodge pretty much, as I said, the majority and get unfortunate with like the very little percent you don't have to dodge, or you can build up guaranteed dodge, which everyone wants guaranteed dodge, right? But overall, I like him. I actually really like him a lot. For a gimmick unit, I think he's a lot of fun to use, and there is the reality of it. If you don't go down the AGL tech or int path route, then he'll be taking a ton of damage on even just normals without his guard. But I think overall, if you play him right, I think he's a lot of fun to use. I think he can be very useful. He can be very good if you want to go down the dodge or die route. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.